All right, you good, David?
Yeah, I'm all good. So,
Bet.
All right, so here we are. Today we got with us a friend of mine, David, who he's kind of in the powerlifting community, and he also has some knowledge overall in kind of fitness. I've trained with him before, and it's been nice to have a different type of knowledge with some of that too on
Yeah.
the techniques and forms and whatnot. And on top of that, kind of just somebody who's from experiences. I feel like both of us have together seen some crazy stuff at times, back at WSU, So thanks for making some time for us today. I'm glad we finally got to make it happen. You were one of the people I reached out to first whenever we got into this. So excited to finally make it happen. Um, so I guess to start out, I kind of want to talk a little bit about your just powerlifting overall, So kind of to start out, what kind of all goals you have with that? Like, are you right now in a position where you're going to compete? And with that, what type of training do you do? What's your diet look like? Some of that type of stuff.
yeah, no. Basically, goal wise, I want to get back into the competing like aspect of things. Um, so for now, since I'm still kind of dealing with the injury, my next goal is to be able to compete at Kansas City State Championships in January of next year.
Hmm.
And in order, like, so that would basically put me in a path to where any state meet, basically, you can, if you get like a qualifying total, that puts you at a spot where you can qualify for nationals. So that's like my big goal right now, qualifying for next year's nationals.
I gotcha. So, overall question I've always kind of had about powerlifting is I feel like you'll see a lot of meets at like say nationals or different stuff like that. Is that something that I guess that title is kind of used for a lot of things, or are all those say or all those like national things that you see, do they all tie into one thing?
Like how's the
So
sphere like for baseball you got tournaments and you got league and stuff. Is it like you have to I know for wrestling is it you have to win in your state and then you can go nationally or yeah, how does that all work?
Yeah, so when it comes to powerlifting nationals wise, so anyone can sign up for like a state level meet. It just usually if you're like newer to that sort of thing, you don't. I mean, it's not like you don't want to do it. You're just kind of state level meets are just more competitive in general. But there's no real requirement to sign up for that, and in order to because a lot of people use that state level meet to go on to like a national
Yeah.
level meet. So in order to do that, you have to hit like a qualifying total. So like it's like your three lifts combined: squat, bench, deadlift. And it's per body weight class. So I compete in the 82.5 kilo, which is 182.5 pounds and under.
Yeah.
Um, and so basically, you have to hit like the qualifying total in order to move on to that national level meet.
So it's not like a so yeah, so you don't have to try to beat or win a whatever they're called. You don't have to win at any of those. You just have to qualify. You have to meet the requirements to be
Yeah,
able to
I mean,
go to nationals.
yeah, I mean, just to set an example, there could be five guys in your weight class, right? And all five of you guys hit that qualifying total, which for my body weight and age group, I think it's 1,300 pounds. So
Hmm.
let's just say all five of the guys like managed to hit that. You could be in fifth place out of like the five people in your weight class, but if you hit that total, you can move on to like the national level meet.
I got you.
So how or what kind of got you into powerlifting?
I always like weight training. I played football in high school, so being in the weight room was always like an environment that I really enjoyed. My coaches really pushed me to be the best version I can in the weight room and outside of the weight room too. It just kind of built character in general for me.
Yeah.
And my first ever powerlifting meet was my senior year of high school. I had a buddy of mine. He's 10 years older than me. I met him at the gym. He did like local meets and stuff like that, and me and one of my buddies and I, my junior year, went to go see him at a powerlifting meet, and the environment just like really, it's a really positive environment. Everyone like you, a lot of people think that since you're all competing against each other, it's very negative. But to be honest, it's quite the opposite from what I've seen. Everyone's cheering on you, even like your competitors. Like everyone lifts each other up. When you go up to the barbell and you're about to lift the weight, everyone's just hyping you up, loud music everywhere, back slaps, all that stuff. So it was always like a very positive environment, and I really enjoyed seeing that from the outside point of view. So I wanted to see it in the inside point of view as well. So I signed up for that meet. I think it was September of my senior year, 2022.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool because I feel like in that environment too, like, or I guess in that competitive nature, it's typically a lot of like, I don't know, people in a sense preying on your downfall, you know.
Mhm.
And so that's pretty cool to hear a community like that where it's really supportive even with your competitors, you know. Um, but yeah, no. So I guess you don't hear a lot about high school powerlifting. I feel like that's something, at least up here in the um, Wichita area specifically. How does that kind of look in high school?
To be honest, I did the private, like, I did it privately through myself. It was like a local meet. It was like in Kansas City, because it was like hosted by gym.
Mhm.
At least in my school district where I went to school at, we don't really have any powerlifting like school wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that, as far as your knowledge goes, is that something that's is kind of limited everywhere, I guess, for a sense?
Yeah, I mean, at least in the area, I know for sure.
Mhm.
I've seen like a lot of high schools though that they have like their own like teams and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how that works because within that there's certain federations as well because there's a lot of like equipped powerlifting, raw powerlifting. There's some divisions of powerlifting like in high school where they squat and bench, but instead of deadlifting they hang clean, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What it sounds like is kind of what Jacob was talking about, how these schools don't have a powerlifting community,
Mhm.
and so you got to kind of outreach to other organizations to kind of do your stuff. Is that what it's
Yeah.
like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah, honestly, it was kind of like that. What we did my senior year, was we started like a club, like a bunch of my buddies and I. We started like a school club, and it was bodybuilding, powerlifting based, and it was with the idea to have other schools as well have like their own little club as well,
Yeah.
to so that we could get together and do like our own like meets in
Yeah.
our like
Yeah.
weight rooms and stuff like that. But that wasn't like like kind of like football or like school football,
It
school
wasn't like
baseball, stuff like that.
sanctioned. It was kind of just you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
doing
yeah,
your own thing.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
the word that I was looking at. Yeah,
Yeah.
sanctioned.
Yeah.
I got you. So, you've obviously throughout your time had a handful of injuries, it sounds like, or I guess one kind of reoccurring specifically injury. Is that about right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
my
could you
back.
give us a rundown overall on that, kind of?
Yeah, so it's kind of been on and off. I've had it I've the beginning stages of like the first time I really dealt with it was my senior year of high no, junior year of high school actually. It was November of 2021. I was doing some heel elevated squats, just to get like more quad activation on those on like my squats. And to be honest, I don't really know exactly what happened. My core gave out on like the second to last rep of the set, and
Mm.
I just heard like a loud pop, racked
Oh.
the bar, and next thing you know, I'm laying on the squat rack, like on the floor, um, pain going down my leg. I can't really like flex my torso, stuff like that. So, um, I took about a week off and didn't really yeah in my eyes it was just like a
A
strained
week?
lower back muscle. Yeah, I mean, I never really gave it the like I never really gave it enough attention. I
Yeah.
didn't know it was herniated, like I didn't know it was a herniated disc. I took a week off and then I kind of eased back into it, and then a month later I'm squatting 455. So I
Jeez.
definitely didn't give recover like I should have. I kind of just kind of masked the pain. did like I did like a lot of rolling out of stuff, like
Yeah.
my rolling my back, massages, stuff like that. And it never really like it was always there, but it never really like kept me from doing what I like lifting in general. That was the reason I didn't play football my senior year though, just because contact sports were kind of like out of the picture.
Yeah.
And then it just became a thing to where like once in a while I would aggravate the nerve a little bit and it would just like hurt again. Like the second big episode that I had was like 2 days before my birthday, 2022. I was deadlifting, tweaked it a little bit, and I was like, damn, okay, now I gotta take a month off just from compound lifting. But I never
Yeah.
really stopped lifting.
Hmm.
And the big one was January of last year. I was prepping for the state meet, same state meet that I'm trying to do next January. I was prepping for that, and I was what had happened was I throughout the whole prep I did like a 14-week prep, and I was 3 weeks out. But so I was coming back from Mexico, and because my family and I, we every Christmas, New Year time, we go down to Mexico, for 2 weeks just to spend Christmas, New Year's,
Yeah.
and but since plane tickets are expensive
Hmm.
during that time, we like to drive down just to save ourselves a lot of money.
Yeah.
So being stuck in the car for 2 days, kind of like really stiffened my back up. And so when I got back from that trip, I was 3 weeks out. Like I was supposed to peak at that point. Like my coach had me like basically programmed to like have the best lifts of like those 14 weeks leading up to that point. So I think that week I was supposed to hit like a 515 squat, 540 deadlift, and like a 290 bench.
Mhm.
And so on like the third day of trying to like peak again, I was deadlifting, and I was warming up with like 455. Like I've done the weight before multiple times.
Yeah.
Like I did it a week prior to that. And literally on the first rep, I go to pull it off the ground, and I just feel like a whole shooting pain, like through my left glute all the way down my leg. And I knew it was bad because like I'd tweaked my back before, but that was like the most uncomfortable it's ever felt.
Yeah.
And probably about 15 minutes after that happened, like all the adrenaline wore off, and I was immobilized. Like I could barely like get into my car and stuff like that.
Oof.
So like the whole like I won't say a whole week after that, I was bed rested, coughing hurt, any sort of pressure on like my abdomen hurt, late like there was no position where I was comfortable. Like I was in constant pain. Like I would probably say the least amount of pain I felt was like laying down, and it was probably like in a scale from 1 to 10, it's like 7 to 10. Sleeping was terrible. I couldn't shower. Every like my whole normal day was just laying in bed and like not being able to do anything. Like showering, like I had someone to help me shower. I couldn't use the bathroom, stuff like that. Sitting down to eat, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds
rough.
rough. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
definitely do not recommend anyone
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're feeling like, if you're feeling some sort of pain, take the day off. It is way better than, having to deal with all of that, cuz I was basically like I couldn't move, like I couldn't bear weight. I was on crutches for like that whole first week whenever I had to move.
Yeah. I think that's a common thing we see in these athletes that actually like put the work in and work their butt off is just working through pain.
yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
mean, it's good that you want to work through all that, but like you said, I mean, it's better to, take a few days off and then get back at it again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's what we were talking about with Gavin. After his surgeries, he wanted to keep going, and ended up making it worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so you got hurt on deadlift, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a topic that I feel like is big in the lifting community. What is your opinions on deadlift?
Deadlift. Yeah, so I'm assuming you're talking about like the whole risk to reward ratio on
Sure.
deadlifting. Um I'm gonna say it's a good lift. It's a really good exercise. If you want to grow your legs, like your hamstrings, glutes, spinal erectors, it's a really great lift. Um, Choose your goals first of all.
Yeah.
If you're powerlifting, it's one of the three lifts in the in the competition, so you're gonna have to train deadlifts.
Yeah.
My biggest thing with the whole thing, and I've learned, I learned it the hard way. When it comes to deadlifting, you have to listen to your body. It's a very complicated lift because yeah, you're exposing your back to injury, which is basically what happened to me. Um, but I will also say that a lot of these injuries are because of weight management, load management, that type of stuff,
Bad
and
technique and stuff as well.
bad technique
Yeah.
and just not taking the time to recover, which is what happened to me.
Yeah.
So, it's not a bad lift by any means. If anything, in my opinion, it's my favorite lift to do, to be honest. And it's kind of ironic because it's the one that like I hurt myself the most on. But
Yeah.
out of the big three, deadlift is easily my favorite. Just know what you're doing and take the time to recover. And more than anything, because in the end, deadlift is the easiest lift to ego lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just stay away from that. Be smart with that. Take the time to grow. You know, if you want to progress, okay, add 5 pounds every week, 10 pounds every week. But if last time you deadlifted 315 for 5, don't try to go for 455 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so I feel like kind of with the environment, kind of more like in the athletics world, I've heard about deadlift. I feel like a lot of people will tell me like, if you're not powerlifting,
Yeah.
just stay away from it.
Yeah.
You
No.
know?
This probably isn't a guy anybody. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't take my information from him, but Antonio Brown.
Damn, my bad, dog.
Yeah.
He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about how a lot of the football players are straying away from deadlifting because of that risk and reward factor. And yeah, I mean, other than bodybuilding or powerlifting, he was like, yeah, I just try to stay away from that.
Yeah.
But
No, I think that's kind of the direction, especially like with the NFL, with like all the rule changes that
Yeah.
are happening for safety
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I feel like that's something kind of big.
yeah,
So I guess on that note as well, what do you think of the NFL, like the kickoff rule changes
Oh.
and like the
Uh,
the tackle behind the leg or from
drop tackle.
yeah, the drop tackle
Drop
that they
tackle.
made.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna say I understand why they're doing it because in the end, if there's more players hurt, they make less money.
Yeah,
And more than anything, player safety.
yeah,
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like with the whole kickoff thing, I feel like fair catches, like when they implemented that rule a few years ago,
Mhm.
like I feel like that was enough in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're doing a little too
Yeah.
much now.
Well, I think when you try to make it more safe, you kind of take away the craziness factor and all
Kinda like
that
the
stuff.
thrill it brings.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because
And
it's a
I mean,
violent sport.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I mean these football players they know what they're signing up for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but like still you want them to be safe, but I mean, is it worth taking away that thrill factor to make sure all these players are safe even though they know what they're signing up for? But
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like one of the sports that hasn't necessarily been touched is like UFC, and I don't think it will because of the owner. But
Yeah.
I know you're kind of a fan of UFC. Did you see McGregor is talking about running for
I
president?
did see that
Yeah,
President
in Ireland.
in Ireland.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jackass.
it's like I don't think he can here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah. No, I
that's
think
crazy.
his kind of like big thing he's running on is their whole immigration that they
Mhm.
have going on right now, and it's from what I've read, it sounds like it's getting bad from like a lot of violence kind of coming with it,
Yeah.
and so that they're kind of that's kind of his big stance that he's
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of going
yeah.
into it with. But I don't know, is he very liked in that community? Do you know?
Um, I feel like, I mean, McGregor's just one of those guys that people either really love him or really hate
Yeah.
him. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's just anywhere in general. So,
The way I look at him is he's a very, very good entertainer.
yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously he's a really good he was a really good mixed martial artist, but like his biggest selling point is probably he's a really good entertainer.
Yeah, he is.
So
I mean, I didn't even watch any sort of UFC at all prior to McGregor, and then I
yeah,
start seeing these videos of him, and I'm like, dang, this guy's
yeah,
kind of funny,
yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
Have you been staying up with UFC lately,
No,
David?
not really.
Yeah.
Um, Here and there, like we'll watch some fights whenever some of the guys are in town, but
Yeah. I remember that was like something every time I was around you, like, or if we were going to watch something, you were always watching UFC or we'd be chatting about it, you know, so I wasn't
yeah.
sure.
I mean, I think it's a fun sport because like that's the one sport where it's like it's really whoever's best. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't got
Yeah.
a team, and it's like full whoever's the strongest, who's ever the fastest. Like you see that in football and baseball and stuff, but like not to the extent of MMA where it's
Yeah.
it's you two going against each other.
Yeah.
So
So I want to go back to kind of the powerlifting topic. I have one more thing I want, or two more things I want to talk about. One of those is mental blocks. We talked to a lot of like athletes and stuff about mental blocks they experience and whatnot. Is that something in the powerlifting world that you see?
Oh yeah, way too big. I mean, I've experienced a lot myself. I'm going through some right now, just like trying to get back into it.
Hmm.
'Cause in the end, I don't know if you guys have seen like the studies or like the fun facts that they say that your body, like your brain only limits your strength to like 30% or something like that of like the actual weight that you can actually lift.
Yeah.
hmm
Um,
Sounds like
because
something David Goggins would go off of.
oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, it does. It kind of sounds like that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure he said something about that.
He probably
Because
did.
Yeah.
because there's like I don't know if you guys have seen like the stories of like the kids getting trapped under the cars and then like moms getting
Yeah,
like super strength and then they lift like the whole like 15
yeah.
1,500 pound car, like they lift it off and like they get the kids. So that's like an actual thing that your body, like your brain, like tells you, like it limits you to a certain extent just to like keep your ligaments and like just keep those intact because your muscles are a lot stronger than your ligaments. So
hmm
that's where you see all the like pec tear
Yeah.
situationships and like and all that stuff. So it's like, so yeah, a lot of it when it comes to powerlifting, it's like your brain, your central nervous system, just like your body's like reaction to keeping you safe.
Yeah.
If you're going for like a big PR, it's just like your brain avoiding injury.
hmm
So it's kind of something that I've been going through right now, especially with like my powerlifting comeback. Because I mean, I'm lifting weights that I've been able to lift. Like I think my heaviest deadlift in this past week was 365 for three, and like I was doing that when I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so but like when I went for it, like you can see in the video because I recorded like my top sets.
Hmm.
Um, I It took me like 30 seconds to like actually like get myself like convince myself that I was gonna lift it because I was just like, okay, I don't want to hurt myself. I want to get every single
Yeah.
every like I want to get every cue right. I want to set my hips, brace my core, make sure there is not the slightest rounding of my lower back, stuff like that. Just because like again, deadlift is like the one that I got hurt on, so it's like my special one to just
Yeah.
like really make sure I get all the cues down.
Yeah. Um, so then additionally, I feel like in any nature of fitness, a diet is a huge part of that. Is that something that you really take to heart, or how do you feel about all that?
Diet is like my friends, especially like my powerlifting like teammates because we're all under one coach.
Hmm.
And again, it's like a individual sport, but when we all have the same coach, you have the ability to like go in as a team, but like in the end you're just lifting by yourself. So
Yeah.
like my teammates, like my boys, they call me the DGen lifter just because um to be honest, I'm not a big meal prep guy. Like if I do meal prep, it's out of convenience.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, cause like I've never really struggled making weight. Like, I can always maintain my weight. Like, there sometimes I might have to like dial it down a little bit here and there, but like overall, like I get 3 to 4 meals in a day. Make sure to get my all my protein in. Get my calories in. But like I'm not counting each individual
Mm,
macro stuff like
yeah.
that. And Garrett, you know, I mean, you like I like to enjoy my weekends,
Yeah.
so like I mean,
So just
you've
make
seen me, yeah.
so just hitting those major points of like protein and calories. You just make sure you hit those. Those are the
Yeah.
biggest ones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, making sure I stay hydrated throughout the day. If I need to drop a liquid IV here and there just to like recover that, I mean, it's something that I'll do, but I've never really struggled you know, having a good time and mixing that with staying consistent in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having a good time. uh, um, so then my final question on powerlifting is, do you have somebody that you feel like is a big influence to you, or somebody that has really, that I guess in a sense you could look up to and help you get to where you are now, you know?
Yeah, I got a few of them. First of all, my buddy Jacob, he's the one that kind of got me into the powerlifting scene in the like the whole in the beginning. Like he's the one that convinced me to do like sign up for my first meet with him.
Hmm.
You know, he's just a really good guy in general. He's not like I mean, he works as like a choir teacher. Like it's not like he's like a competitive powerlifter or anything, but he's just a really good guy, really positive guy. So he's the one that like kind of pushed me into it. Second, I would probably say my coach Brandon Tomer. I think right now he's the third strongest USAPL powerlifter in all the state of Kansas.
Oh
Man.
dang.
Yeah, he's got a 496 dot score, so like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's considered like a prime time lifter,
Dang.
and actually next week I'm planning to go see him compete at the Missouri State Championship for his national qualifier.
That's sick.
Dang.
Um, cause he's a crazy guy. I mean, I think he weighs like 205, squats like 630, deadlifts close in the 700s, benches like 450.
Damn.
Jeez.
Yeah,
That's insane.
he's like there's a reason I hired him. That and the fact
Yeah.
that I mean
Yeah.
that and the fact that we're boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've known him for a few years now, so and I get cheaper coaching than most of the guys just
Hmm.
because of that. And third, I would probably say my best friend Max Martin.
Mhm.
He's kind of the one that got me back into the powerlifting because once I did my first meet, I'm like, all right, I did a meet, I'm done. You know, that was fun, but like it's nothing that I want to keep doing consistently. But he's the one that convinced me to come back last year, and after my injury, he's the one that's kind of been pushing me to like get back into the scene of things. He
Hmm.
actually competed this past January and qualified for nationals. I was his weight handler, basically what we call a weight bitch. You know, when he's warming up in the warm up room, I'm putting on the weights for him, stuff like that, handling him, keeping track of like his belt, knee wraps, stuff like that. Chalking his back. You know, I mean, I'm just like the little assistant. Um, so and yeah, it's kind of like a joke now that if you're like part of the team and you're injured, you're a weight bitch. Like
Oh,
that's your assignment. You know,
yeah.
just to like help out as much as you can. And it was fun. It was really fun. I mean, it's definitely not the ideal situation. Like I'd rather be competing, but
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
helping my boys out as much as I can. So I would so yeah, Max was like a really big reason why I decided to come back post injury. And I'm actually really excited because he qualified for nationals, and so June 26th we will be flying to Atlanta, and I'm gonna be his weight bitch then as well. And yeah, so the goal is to you know get him as far as we can with that, help him out in nationals, and um, yeah, when next year rolls around and I'm able to compete again, hopefully we can go there together as teammates and you know, homies. He's always been there for me, and I've always been there for him. You know, where it's kind of like, you know, it's past the brotherhood in the end. He's really helped me out, because when it came to the injury, I got really depressed. Like I really enjoyed lifting, and it's like, yeah, powerlifting wasn't like my first choice, like my like the thing that I enjoyed doing the most, but just in general, like mentally, I wasn't doing very okay. So
Yeah.
he was there, and he always had my back, and he lifted me up. So yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It sounds like for you specifically as well, and it might be all powerlifting, but it sounds like the community that you guys have is a really good one, you know. And it's always exciting to hear about different schools or different teams and organizations and whatnot. It's kind of community that they have with each other. So it's pretty cool to hear something like that, you know.
yeah.
Um, so I guess next I kind of want to talk to you more about some personal stuff with yourself, you know, outside of powerlifting. So where are you going to school at right now, and what are you majoring in?
So for this semester, I had to, for some family reasons, I had to come back home. So I'm doing Johnson County Community College online. You know, just saving up some money, helping out home as much as I can. And yeah, I'm just taking online classes there.
Yeah.
Just to keep staying track.
Mhm.
I'm majoring in exercise science, and hopefully with that, I can get my master's and doctorate in physical therapy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Heck
pretty.
yeah.
So did your injuries have any influence on you kind of wanting to get into that?
So yeah, honestly, because throughout high school, I wanted to be a nutritionist, but my senior year came around, and I took like a semester like concurrent credit class for sports medicine,
Mhm.
and that really got me into like the whole more like physiology type of stuff, and just like
Yeah.
injury rehab, treating patients and stuff like that. And it was something that I'd always enjoyed doing throughout high school, because like people knew that I enjoyed lifting. I enjoyed, like, I knew what I was doing in the gym. So anytime they had some sort of question, whether it was injury, workout program, stuff like that, they would come to me. And I've always enjoyed helping people out with the knowledge that I have, and helping them reach their goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Like to kind of take, especially from a younger age, take what you have and be able to give it back and help others, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so then you kind of mentioned earlier about how you guys would travel to Mexico every now and then. What um, what do you kind of feel like are some immediate differences for those that don't really know about Mexico to America? Because in all honesty, I don't know too much about it, you
Yeah,
know.
me too.
Yeah.
So what kind of do you have all on that?
I mean, it's crazy. There's really a lot, and I mean, it's stuff that I sometimes be forgetting about until I go back, and because I don't know if Caden's aware. I know I've told you a little bit about this. That I was born and raised in Mexico, and I moved here
Hmm.
Yeah.
11 years ago now. So like half of my life has been there, half of my life has been here. Um, First of all, I want to say that I am very privileged being here. Very completely different situations. You know, quality of life, I want to say, is better. Yeah, just stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Definitely a safer place to live here than there.
Yeah.
Economy wise, way better. I mean, um, like I tell my cousins all the time, like, yo, I just started this new job here, like I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and like, yo, how much do you earn an hour? I'm like, yeah, I'm making 15, 16 an hour, or something like that, because my last job, that's about how much I was making. They're like, damn, I make about half of that on a good night.
Dang.
Jeez.
When
Yeah.
they were, yeah. So it's more than anything, I want to say I'm very privileged and grateful of being here, and I want to thank my parents for bringing us here, giving us like a better quality of life. School wise, way like education, I feel like the education system here is way better. There's definitely more opportunity college wise. Is it more expensive? Yeah, you do have to put in the work. Yeah, but I feel like there's um again more opportunity when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah. So what did that process kind of look like for you guys coming here? Was it like a hard transition, especially you from a younger age to kind of go to a completely new environment, or what that kind of look like?
To be honest, it was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. Because I was 8, I was about to turn 9 when we moved here at first. And I want to say coming here at a younger age helped me transition way easier. Because my
Yeah,
biggest thing, to be honest, was the language barrier.
yeah. That's something I was gonna
Because
ask. Is Spanish is your first language?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Spanish has always
yeah,
been my first language. I probably say it still is. But yeah, so when we first came here, cause I knew a little bit of English, cause in Mexico we take English classes like you guys take Spanish here. So I knew very basic stuff, like I knew where to ask where the lunchroom was, like
yeah.
what, like that type of stuff, like what's your name, and kind of
Mhm.
introduce myself. Um, but I didn't really like know English, I want to say. So like the first month and a half coming here, I want to say it was probably, I don't want to say it's rough, it was just challenging.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But in the end, I mean, I moved around when I was little, so like even in Mexico, like we moved from my birth city to Monterrey and then back to where I'm from, and after that we came here. So change wasn't crazy for me, especially because like moving schools, like that was something I did a lot too back then. So when we came here again, the biggest thing for me was A, the culture shock, and B, language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was something that I was able to, easily transition to, especially because I was young, and that's something that my parents highlight a lot. Like my sister and I, because I have a younger sister as well. She was the easiest. Like she was the one that had the easiest time to just adapt to the whole situation because she was so little. Like change didn't really like shock her as much as it
Mhm.
did for us, and even for me, it was really easy. I mean, I've always been like a social person, so making friends really wasn't an issue when I came here. I was also lucky to go to a school where I'm still really good friends with a lot of the people that I met when I first moved here. So, yeah, I mean, very friendly people, very friendly school system. So they helped us ease into it, and I like from elementary school to seventh grade, I was in like a ESL type of program, where they like help you out with like if English is your second language, they help you
Mhm.
out with that whole thing.
Yeah.
So they helped me out a lot with that as well.
That's pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
So you made the comment about culture shock. What were maybe some of those little things, that were completely different, in a sense?
Um, the biggest one I want to say was diversity.
Yeah.
Because in Mexico, you're surrounded by like 99% of the population, or at least that I was around, was Mexicans.
Yeah.
So I come here and I see people from all over the world. I see people that are from the U.S. I see people that are from India, China, Japan. So this was like the most diversity I've ever seen in my life. Because like other than that, like I could count in like the palm of my hand how many like people from other parts of the world like I've seen. And to be honest, it was like I went to school with one girl. Like in Mexico, I went to school with one girl that was from Brazil, and other than that, the only other people that I've known was like the people from the U.S. that my dad worked with that would sometimes come visit,
Hmm.
and two of my dad's coworkers that were from Japan. That was it. So when I first came here, like my first day of school, I'm seeing people from all over the world, and I'm like, damn, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that does. That's something I've never
Yeah, I
really
was I
thought
was
of.
gonna say that, yeah, like because we've been around it. Like we're
Hmm.
used to seeing people from all over different walks of life. And I guess, yeah, in Mexico, I mean, it's just like same people.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
I guess this is a little bit of a deeper question. In America, I feel like you hear a lot about racism and whatnot, especially because there's so many different people from all over in one area. With
Hmm.
everybody kind of being from the same area, is there not necessarily that kind of sense of, I guess, urgency that it has now in America?
Um. What do you mean by that?
So like I feel like in America you have so many different people different colors, different ethnicity, you know.
Yeah,
And so when you're in a culture where everybody's the same, or not the same, you know what I'm saying, but like where everybody
from the
is,
same background.
yeah, you know, kind of same background and same come up and whatnot, is is kind of the idea of that eliminated?
To be honest, no. I want to say that it's it's a little bit different because what I a lot of the things that like I've been talking to my parents here a lot lately because I mean growing up I see Mexico like a different point of view than I used to see it back in the day when I was little.
Yeah.
When it comes to Mexico, there's um a lot of discrimination when it comes to like how do you say it? Like wealth class.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Because I mean we're like in the middle, like we weren't super rich but we weren't I mean poor either, like we would be able to get by.
yeah.
But I have noticed a lot that the upper class definitely looks down a lot upon like the middle and lower class.
Yeah.
It's something that you see a lot, like especially not really where I'm from because I mean most of where like the city where I'm from, it's like where most of us are middle class.
Yeah.
But if you go to places like Mexico City, for example, and big city, lot of very successful people there, the upper class really tends to look down upon middle, especially lower class. Um, and I haven't really been part of that, but I have a lot of family members that have told me about that type of stuff. Like, they go to school and they literally get bullied because their parents make three, four times the amount than, you
Yeah.
know.
I gotcha.
And that's what I was gonna ask. Is it very predominant, or is it just like here and there you'll get that discrimination?
It depends where you're at for sure.
Yeah.
Again, I never really dealt with it. But again, bigger cities, stuff like that, yeah, you'll see it for sure.
Yeah.
So you really kind of, it's in a sense you lose one area of a form of discrimination, and that whole area you lose kind of like doubles in a sense,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
adds on somewhere
Yeah.
else, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say double. It's more like adds on. But
Yeah.
I will say, racism and discrimination is also a thing from where I've seen it as well,
Hmm.
because since there is less diversity in Mexico,
Yeah.
the very few diversity that you actually see,
Yeah.
it's very rare for them. So like, honestly, sometimes I would say, it's a lot of times like the racism that happens. It's not like any hateful.
Hmm.
It's more just ignorance.
Yeah. Like kind of
Yeah.
uneducated in a sense.
Yeah, very, very, very uneducated.
Yeah.
But when you do see racism, it can become very violent, very discriminatory, because since 99% of the pop, and I'm not sure like if these are actually the numbers, but like if almost everyone is the same and there's one or two people that aren't the same, they catch a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're very susceptible to that kind of discrimination because
Hmm.
they're people really aren't used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes sense, you know. Um, so as you get older and kind of one day, you know, are working your job and whatnot, is that part of your Hispanic roots something that you're going to hold close to? You still want to be able to go back and stuff like that, or is that not necessarily something that you would see being part of your future?
Oh no, I that's definitely something that I am very aware of, and I always keep it close to me, and that's part of the reason I enjoy going back.
Mhm.
Because yeah, don't get me wrong, I love my life here. It's definitely something like I definitely want to stay here, which is part of the reason why I'm in the process of getting my
Yeah.
citizenship, just to, like make this like a more permanent thing because I see my future being here.
Hmm.
But there's Mexico has a very special place in my heart, and part of the reason why I got it tatted on my chest, you've seen the tattoo
Yeah.
before, which is like the Mexican flag crest.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's always just been a big part of me, just like my Hispanic roots, and part of the reason why I enjoy going back, because again, my whole family's there. Like we're the only ones that are on this side. Everyone else still lives there, and I still love going there. It keeps me connected to my roots, and it's definitely something that I want to keep around for sure.
Yeah. Um, which food do you like better?
Oh, that's a really good one, honestly. To be honest, Mexican food for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Also,
authentic Mexican
I was,
cuisine.
I was gonna say, how is American Mexican food
Yeah.
compared to actual authentic Mexican food?
Um, in my personal opinion, they're both very good.
Mm-hmm.
They're two very different things.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Tex-Mex has some. It's got certain aspects and inspiration of Mexican
yeah,
food,
yeah.
but they're two very different things. Because again, if you tell me
I
Taco
was
Bell
gonna
is
say
not
Taco
Mexican, Taco Bell
Bell.
is not Mexican food. It's Tex-Mex,
Yeah,
but I mean, shit. If it's 2 in the morning and I'm feeling hungry, I'm gonna fuck up some Taco Bell for sure.
Yeah. So,
yep.
so what do you think, or what are your like top Mexican restaurants in America? And does
Like
Roadrunners make
Tex-Mex,
that list? Yeah, yeah,
His Roadrunner make that list.
Roadrunners. I would say Roadrunners is probably like my second favorite. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. What's the number one
Um,
for you?
Number one, that's a really good one. Um, we have this. I don't know if there's any in Wichita, but here in Overland Park, we have this place called Mi Ranchito.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it.
Really good food. It's like a restaurant.
Yeah.
More like sit down type of stuff. So Mi Ranchito's probably number one. Roadrunner's number two, and
Taco Bell, baby.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell's probably number three. Yeah,
Ain't no way. That is crazy.
I'm a big Taco Bell guy, dude.
Really?
The
Also,
beef the beefy cheese, like the beefy bean burrito, the crunch wrap, dude. Dude, I love that.
is there any restaurant here in America that gets even close to authentic Mexican food, or not really?
Chain wise,
Yeah,
no.
no.
I mean, not that I can think of. I mean, K Machos is kind of close. I mean, they got some stuff that's like around that. But when I want Mexican food, I'll go to like, the Mexican owned,
Yes, yeah.
Like
but
kind
like
of local
franchise
spot,
wise, what's up?
like kind of like a local spot type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For example, like my favorite place to go, like in Wichita, my favorite taco place is El Fogón.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that
Yeah,
place. They're a little bit on the pricier side, but it's definitely worth it.
yeah.
Um, do you have actually with you living kind of up in Kansas City area, do you like Kansas City barbecue?
Yeah, I love it, dude.
Yeah.
Especially around football season, dude. I mean, Chiefs are playing, dude. They're
Yeah.
perfect Sunday. Some barbecue burn ends. Chiefs playing prime time, dude. I love it.
So
That's like my
with you being
perfect
a
sit down.
big Chiefs fan, how are you kind of feeling about what all they're doing in the off season? Or have you been keeping up with much of it?
I have. I Some of the stuff I'm kind of iffy about.
Hmm.
Um, but in the end, I trust them. They've made some questionable decisions in the past that ended up, benefiting us. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's been going on. What's been going on?
Dude, Xavier Worthy, the fast rookie wide receiver,
Uh-huh.
he got arrested.
I saw that.
He ended up beating all that though. They re-signed Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
They re-signed Nick Bolton. Didn't they officially do that?
yeah,
Yeah.
they did that like 4 or 5 days ago, something like that.
Yeah. Then they franchise tagged the one lineman, what's his name? Um,
Um,
Trey Smith.
Trey Smith.
Yeah, franchise tag Trey Smith. They picked up a tackle that I think he was from the 49ers. Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
49ers.
Yeah, and I don't know how good he is. I've heard some mixed information on him. Do you know much about him?
Um, some say that he's kind of slow,
Yeah,
um, which is kind of something that we've been struggling this past season with. So I'm not too
yeah.
excited about that. But
The
I've
one that
also
caught
say
me off guard was Joe Tooney or Thuney, whatever it is, him
yeah,
leaving. They traded him to the Bears for a third or fourth round pick.
I
Who's
wasn't
he?
happy
Uh,
about that one.
yeah, he was one of the best offensive linemen, or
Why'd they do that?
him or Creed Humphrey, debatably.
Mm,
I mean, he was taking up a lot of room,
yeah.
cap space,
Cap
Yeah.
space.
and so I hated the idea in the moment, but I kind of like them getting Trey Smith, if you think about it, over him. You got
Yeah.
more length that you can get out of him.
Is he younger?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
I think his rookie year expires this year, or
Oh,
his rookie
dang.
contract.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then they got a corner from the Chargers that I know I haven't done any research
Mm.
on him, but
And Travis Kelce hasn't retired yet.
yeah, I don't
he's
know.
on his
Were
last
you
year,
hoping he
dude.
would?
He's old.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to retire this year just by how he was playing during the season.
yeah,
It looked
Yeah,
like he was just showing up to games.
yeah.
But
yeah,
That was kind of. I was at the position where I feel like this year was his kind of drop off season,
yeah,
and it really sucked to see. But like, especially in the Super Bowl, just watching, it seemed like the way he was playing and like his attitude, it
he
just
didn't
kind of
really
like
want it.
it was annoying that
Yeah.
he was even on the field with the
Yes, yeah.
attitude he kind of. But that
yeah.
was my personal way of taking
Yeah,
it, you
no,
know?
I agree. Also, what you see with some of these athletes is I hope he doesn't stay too long
Hmm.
because I don't know if you've seen some of these athletes that are like really good, but then they just stay too long, and everybody only remembers them those last few seasons where they're old and they weren't
They're
really playing.
washed.
Yeah, and I hope he retires soon so everybody still remembers him as a really good tight end.
For sure. And I think
Yeah.
I think this is it. I think.
Yeah, I thought it was this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
same.
I think it's coming to an end. But and then how do you feel about DeAndre Hopkins going to the Ravens?
Oh,
Dude,
they
I
bought
was
they traded him?
not excited
Or
about
he
that.
was a free agent.
Oh, yeah.
I was not excited about that. I feel like we should have fought a little harder for that.
Yeah.
And the Ravens are definitely going to utilize him.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I feel like he's just kind of ring chasing. I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah.
roster wise, I feel like he's just slowly upgrading in rosters,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, that's fair. He's grinding.
He needs a ring though.
Yeah.
Like out of
Yeah. He's
if
a
the Chiefs
vet.
don't go
He
to the
kind of
Super Bowl
needs
next
it.
year, he would be, and the Ravens are there. I'd root for him to get a ring,
Yeah.
even though I hate the Ravens, because
The Ravens
Yeah.
sound like they're going to be pretty good.
yeah.
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 But yeah, no. So I'm hoping that the off season can be continue to be good, and I think they'll have a good draft. You know,
Yeah.
seems like they always make something work.
And Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he's still super young.
Yeah,
You got what, like 5, 6, 7? I don't know how long QBs really last, but
yeah. He's
you
got
got some years out of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of want to get back on some of your experiences. You know, you have obviously, excuse me, you have obviously been in a position where you've got to see a lot of different college environments, I guess. Out of all the college environments you've been around, what has been your favorites and what about them has made them so special?
That's honestly a really good question. So, I'm probably gonna say WSU, definitely one of my favorite
Really?
ones, if not my favorite. Yeah, because it's big enough and there's enough stuff going on to like have, if you have some free time, have some fun.
Hmm.
But it's also, small enough to where
Yeah.
it's not just a bunch of craziness.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
not.
something that I personally need because if there's stuff going on every week, every
Yeah,
day of the week, I'm out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
and it's more partying than work. So I like being able to have that balance to
Yeah.
when I have free time, have something to do, but when I have to work, I don't have that distraction going on.
I think we all agree on that, and we've talked about it in the past that WSU's right at that spot where you can have fun, or it's not it's not a small college, but it's not a massive college
Mhm.
where there's not a lot of crazy stuff going on, but you can have fun
Yeah.
and get your work done.
Because it's like, you might know a little bit more about this than me, but I can speak for K-State, and then I know like Pitt State. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, and
Mhm.
sometimes those days in between, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would lose focus
Oh
quick.
yeah.
I
Oh
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know, is KU basically that same
Oh,
type of thing?
dude, KU every day there's something going on. Even if it's like Monday at 10 in the morning, dude, you'll probably see
Jeez.
some degenerates at the bar. Shit, if I was going to KU, I'd probably be there, dude. If I didn't have class,
Yeah.
I'd be at the Hawk, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess for going for a fun experience to the places you've been to, what has been the most fun?
Um, I'd probably say Pitt was really fun. I will say Pitt.
How
We
did that
went.
look? Because I don't know a whole lot. Like I know perspective from my girlfriend, but what was it from
Yeah.
your perspective up there?
It was fun. It was honestly the environment was kind of like WSU.
Mhm.
I will say one thing that I didn't like is that the action didn't start happening until like 11, 10, 11. Like we were sitting,
Yeah.
like we got there at like 6:30 or 7, something like that, and we kind of just sat around for a few hours, really not doing anything. I got to meet some of my guys, like my boys' friends from the fraternity and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
caught up with some of my old friends from high school, but yeah, I mean, we didn't really start getting stuff going until like 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff to do. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Kind of like WSU. But yeah.
Yeah. I feel it because that was kind of every time I've been up there, it's kind of like a small town environment in a
Yeah.
sense, where like I feel like one of the biggest things in the town is the college, and with that, there's gonna be some stuff going on at times,
Yeah.
but I have heard Pitt State, at least last semester, they got some backlash on some bad stuff going on, but
Oof.
that's kind of nature of the beast everywhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like those smaller schools definitely just take it maybe a little bit more personal and more maybe not take it a different way. Maybe it's just you hear about it more than a
Yeah.
KU or K State because there's so
Yeah.
many different.
There's so much going on that
Yeah.
like I mean, I'm sure like stuff happens and you don't hear about it because there's so much going on.
Hmm.
But yeah, like you said, it's smaller. You probably hear everything.
Yeah.
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 So we got one thing that we like to do end of every episode once we're getting to the end, and that is we like to have some form of story time on something funny or crazy that's happened. And so I actually yesterday had a few crazy things all in one day, of course, that happened. And so to start out, I'm driving to Beta, and first I see a guy dancing in the middle of the road with just boxers on.
Oh God.
Just boxers on. Dude's like getting down to it. Like I wish I would have got a video or something.
Yeah.
And I mean that's not even where it starts, but I mean that's more of a kind of common thing, like in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so then I get to the house and I'm walking up to the north house and I'm walking up and I turn and we have a little table right next to the door. You know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about, David?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I turn, not even thinking, start to walk up to the door, not even paying attention. I'm on my phone looking,
Yeah.
and I look up and there's a homeless person just sitting on the door like this, just slumped. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? And so it's spring break. Nobody's in town. Like we have a total of like 5 guys in town,
Yeah.
including
Yeah.
myself. And so I'm like, oh my God. Like I can tell this guy to leave, but I would feel a lot more comfortable if I had somebody with me, you
Yeah.
know?
Like I would rather have Aaron.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I go and look at the other parking lot, and there's a car and a truck in the parking lot I don't recognize. I think it's Aaron's new truck or
Mhm.
something maybe. And so I go in. Thank God Aaron is there. He's like Dylan's upstairs too. So we go get him. We tell the guy, we're like, hey, excuse me, sir, you're gonna have to leave. Sorry, are you doing okay? Is everything
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
And the guy's just like, he's just going, what? What? And we're like, we're gonna have to ask you to leave. okay, as he's just like going back and forth. And it's just one of those things like this was at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, yeah.
4 o'clock in the afternoon. And don't get me wrong, like I've seen a lot of crazy stuff up there, not
Yeah.
at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so the guy leaves and he's walking out. He's like, when he's walking, he's like crossing his legs like this as he's walking,
What
like
the
going like
heck?
that. Like he, I don't want to assume, but if I
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
guess, he was probably on something,
Oh
you know.
yeah, for sure.
And so then following that, I thought that was the end of the day. Following that, I'm going up to the fraternity and where the McDonald's is,
Mm-hmm.
police got the road completely blocked off. And so I'm like, maybe
Dang.
there's a wreck or something, you know. So then I go back and I'm hanging out, and then I end up going to Ava's house.
Yeah.
And at the actually no, whenever I got there, I looked on my phone and I saw I got 2 email notifications. I typically don't read those. I go through them once
Yeah,
a day.
yeah.
But it caught my eye because it was WSU emergency or something like that. And so there was a bomb threat on
Oh
that
my
street
God.
at the
Jeez.
corner of our house. And so they had and they like sent out a notification like everybody escort the area, you
Jeez.
know, all that type of stuff. And within the year I have been at WSU, that's the second bomb threat
Yeah.
that I have been
Yep.
there while stuff's going on.
Yep.
And I'm like, what in the world? Like, I don't know. Yesterday was just filing down, you know. Um, but it's one of those things too. Like I'll get off work at 10 o'clock at night, walking
Mm-hmm.
in. By then I'm getting there around 10:45, 11, you know.
Yeah.
And you just never know what you're gonna see. Like you got to be aware
Oh yeah.
sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So following that up, do you have anything in your time around up there that you ever saw that was kind of crazy or anything in Wichita in general, you know?
Um, well, I mean, I remember the first bomb threat that
Yeah.
happened last year. I remember I
Yep.
was chilling at the dorm with my now ex-girlfriend, and I'm literally just I was in my dorm playing Fortnite, and my roommate calls me. He's like, "Bro, where are you at? We need to go. Like, I'm outside right now." I'm like, "Okay, like, what's happening?" He's like, "Yo, I mean, there's bomb threat and all this." I'm like, "He's got to be kidding. He's got to be kidding, right?" And nah, he like sent I as soon as I pick up the phone or like I'm about to hang up on the phone, I get the text from him like the message
The
notification from
WSU.
campus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh shit, like we actually gotta go. He's like, yeah, I'm parked up front. Just come down or whatever. And so I have my he's allergic to cats, and so me and my ex girlfriend we had a cat. So we
Ah.
threw the cat into the back because we're like, we're not gonna leave the motherfucker behind. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get cat fur all over your car or whatever. So we all switch into my car and we're just driving, doing laps around campus. And I was just expecting like a little like poof
Oh.
to just happen at this point, right? Because I'm like, I'm just killing time at this point. But yeah, no, it ended up being some sort of false alarm or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because they were
Um,
saying the bomb was at Starbucks, if I remember, if this was the time you're talking about.
Yeah, they said there was one at Starbucks, and then they said there was one at I don't remember what the building name was, but it's one of the ones next to the library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was Jabara
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because Jabara was right in front of Shocker Hall. So and
Yeah.
like my dorm, like if you look out the window, Jabara is literally right there.
Oh God. Yeah.
That is insane. It it's stuff like I don't know, that's a whole different kind of experiences that you get
Oh yeah.
rather than just the area we live in,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
I think that it I think up there, at least for me, the year I've been here, not even a year so far, it's
Mm-hmm.
just crazy how many things, whether it's from stuff because of the area or just
Yeah.
non because
Yeah.
of the area, crazy stuff that you kind of see up there.
Well, I know like even in high school, like I have friends that tell me about like having bomb threats at their school like once a week or have threats of somebody going in there and shooting up the school like once a week. So I mean, I think it's just I don't know if it's here in America or here in Kansas or here in Wichita, but
Mhm.
one of them.
Yeah. I mean, Derby had a grenade, or some girl said that she brought a grenade to school, and then she pulled
God.
out a grenade out of her backpack, and I'm assuming it was a fake grenade because
Oh
nothing ever
God.
blew, but
Hmm.
it's just like, what in the world do we do?
Yeah. in Mexico, is there any of that or?
Oh, dude, all the time. I
I
mean,
mean, well, I
school
mean,
shootings aren't like so. When it comes to school shootings, it's not really like a thing. But I mean, people bring weapons to school every day. My
yeah.
aunt, she's I think she teaches middle school and high school. She's had middle schoolers bring in handguns because I mean
What
they're
the
part of
heck?
gangs and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
like they're always flashing
yeah,
like
yeah.
they get in some fight like yo what's up with that. So then next thing you know they have to call the cops, all this stuff.
So
Um, when it comes to bomb threats and stuff like that, yeah, it's happened a few times as well. There was a so where I used to live at, we lived like literally 5 minutes away from a bit like one of the big city hospitals, right?
yeah,
And so there was I don't even know if it was cartel, gang, something like
yeah,
that going on. Um, basically, I get the word that there was two grenades set off, literally, at the hospital because they thought that the ambulance they were loading up some ambulances,
yeah,
and it was two of them, and they thought that it was like the like the armor cars where they transport cash.
yeah, yeah.
They thought that they for some reason they thought it like the ambulances were that like those cars. So then they set it off. Like four people died and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, this is
Jeez.
literally like right behind my house.
What in the world?
Yeah, see, that's something I think we're very lucky, like that we don't have to deal with. Like, yeah, there's there's bad stuff that happens here in America, but you don't have to worry about a massive gang like the cartel
Hmm.
here in America.
And that was what I was gonna ask. Like up here or in America, I feel like the two notorious gangs are the Bloods and the Crips,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What is kind of the comparison of that in Mexico, or is it just more so like the cartel?
I mean, there's definitely local gang stuff like that, but more than anything, it's the cartels. I mean, there's two really big ones.
Hmm.
And I'm
Um,
guessing, I mean, I don't know anything about this. I know stuff about this from movies and stuff and
yeah.
but like do those gangs like they do some of the smaller gangs have affiliations to the cartel or is it just
Yeah,
like
a lot of
they're
the
by
a lot
themselves?
of the times the gang, I mean, when it comes to the like the affiliations that they have, it's to move product more than
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, at this like in this day and age, when it comes to cartels and gangs, it's not just moving product. There's a lot of human trafficking now that is
Yes,
going
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So they deal with like that type of stuff, kidnapping, transporting, people.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I think we're lucky in
We're
some
very lucky,
senses,
yeah.
no matter what, and I feel like especially from your experiences and seeing both cultures, you probably got some opinions on that as well.
Yeah.
But um honestly, I feel like we got to talk about some great stuff today,
Oh yeah.
and definitely a bride area of
Oh
things
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
So I just want to say thank you for giving us some time. I'm glad that we got to make it happen, and hopefully got to inform some people on some cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
So thanks for your time, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Do you have anything that you want to promote, social medias or anything like that?
Um, I will say if any of you guys are interested in powerlifting, go check my boy Brandon Tomer out. I think if you just search him up on Instagram, he's a really good coach. He's really, if you have some goals, he will help you get to those.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, we can we'll add his in
Yeah.
there, and then do you want to throw in your powerlifting page or anything like that, or your personal?
Um, I don't really have like a powerlifting page, but I mean, I can just
Oh,
throw
you don't?
my,
Okay. Yeah,
no.
for
Your
sure.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
can
right, well,
just
we'll
throw
throw that in
mine.
there.
Yeah.
All right, but appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, we appreciate your time. I'm glad we got to chop it up for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you
All
for
right,
having
well,
me, guys.
Yep.
yeah, of course. Well, I think that's a great place to end it. So, thanks, man.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I'll reach out to you here soon because you and me definitely ought to chop it up about some stuff too. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
we
really
do.
into this. So yeah, you'll be hearing from me soon.
All right, but yeah, no, for sure.
Bet, bet.
And
Well,
I also, there's possibility I might be coming